everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Nicole's Accountability. I'm your host, Nicole Pludre, and I have my guest host with me, my co-host with me, Paco the Sober Dot. Ruff, ruff. I'm Paco the Sober Dot. Ruff, ruff. I stay sober and I love helping others. I'm Paco the Sober Dot. Ruff, ruff. Okay, go lay down, co-host. So that's my co-host for those of you guys that are new here. So today we're going to be talking about accountability versus enabling. The reason we're talking about this subject today is because I follow quite a few people over on TikTok, and I look up to the people I follow because they're very well versed in harm reduction, which is something I'm trying to learn more about. I'm not really good at it because I've been indoctrinated by the 12-step fellowship for so many years. It's something that I'm trying to undo, but it's very, very hard, okay? And so I was watching a video the other day from my friend Miriam. I want to play the video for you guys because I think it's important that you guys see what I'm talking about and where I'm coming from. So let me pull this video up really fast on TikTok for y'all.
5 ideas that can help you make more money.
And then you'll see where I'm coming from. Is this kind of a good angle for you guys? I've been tired of y'all looking down, up at me, so I'm trying to get you to look. Oops, sorry about that. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get y'all to where y'all are looking head on at me instead of like either up or like down like this. I want you to look at me. This is what I look like in real life. Okay. So let me grab this video that I'm talking about, Miriam. Mainline. Okay, so Miriam is the owner of Mainline Harm Reduction, and just listen.
You're not codependent. If you love somebody who has substance use disorder, you're not as sick as they are. You're not codependent because you want to help them and that you think about them all the time and it worries you. You're not codependent because you can't stop thinking about them. You're not codependent because you offer them resources. You're not codependent because you sometimes go further than your own boundaries for yourself or ideas about boundaries. And sometimes you get pushed further than that. You're not codependent because you love somebody that much.
Okay, so I wanted to read some of the comments to you guys, okay? Codependence birthed Al-Anon, which is a whole other travesty. Al-Anon was started by Bill's wife, who never set any boundaries, allowed him to lie, cheat, and steal until he smoked himself to death. Effective program. What name? What? What's in your mouth? Spit it out. It's blue. It's red. What, Nathaniel? Open your mouth. What is that? You lost a tooth?
No, my lip was stuck to my
lip. Go take a bath. I set the bath up for you. Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to show that to you guys because I have so many people who love an addict or an alcoholic, and they reach out to me and they have people telling them that they're supposed to turn their backs on the addict. They're supposed to kick the addict out and make them hit rock bottom and all these things. And it's kind of upsetting because it's not true, okay? Like, you don't have to totally kick your addict out of your life and not talk to them and not be a part of their life because they struggle with substance use disorder.
I have the phone so I can watch TV.
You have your tablet, don't you?
The tablet?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, fine, Nate. Hold on. Let me show them one more video and then I'll give you this phone. Okay? So
I've got to talk about this. Overextending ourselves for anyone, even somebody not substance use disordered, is on us, right? Like, there are people who need a lot.
Okay, so I asked the question. My question, here you go, Nate. My question that I asked her was, well, what do we do if we are involved with somebody that has substance use disorder and we are overextending ourselves to the point where it's negatively affecting our lives? Okay, and so what do we do then? How can we effectively help somebody that struggles with substance use disorder without putting our own selves in danger? Okay, and so this is where the idea of setting healthy boundaries comes in, and I really wanted to talk to you guys about that. Okay, so what do healthy boundaries look like when helping somebody that has substance use disorder? Well, for me, and I will share with you guys my own personal experience, because for those of you guys that are new here, I have been sober since July 13th of 2015, but my husband had a relapse in 2020. Okay. And so I had to go through that with my husband, or I chose to go through that with my husband. I could have left his ass, could have left his ass. I'm taking a caffeine pill for anybody that wants to know. Caffeine, Jet Alert. Okay. I could have just left my husband, okay, high and dry. I believe there's a happy medium, okay? I believe there's a happy medium when helping people that struggle with substance use disorder, and I'm going to share with you guys the happy medium, okay? So, when my husband went through his relapse in 2020, I didn't just say, okay, you're kicked out, you have to leave. I set boundaries. What I did with my husband was I said, if you want to come here and you want to go to bed with me and your son at night, you have to come home sober. You can't be high when you come home. So, basically, what would happen is if he got fucked up at work that day and was all googly-eyed and he came and knocked on the door to come home and go to bed, and I noticed it, and I would say, sorry, tonight's not a good night for you to stay with us. Nate's already in bed. Anyway, go stay at your mom's house, and I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. There's a difference. These words like enabling and codependence, these are words that the 12-step fellowship counts on you thinking you're doing these things, because they feed off of all these people coming to their program and then them sending them out to treatment centers, okay? There is a healthy way to help people that have addiction. I help people every single day that are in active addiction, and I protect myself at the same time while doing it because I set healthy boundaries. One of my number one rules, if I'm going out to do a call where I'm going to see somebody that's on drugs, my number one rule is I don't go alone. I take another recovering person with me who has more sober time than me. I have 8 years in July. I take somebody with me that has 10 years, okay, to protect myself. Because who's to say I won't get over there and I could get triggered? I could see somebody super duper high and I could think, you know what, I want to use too, okay? That's to protect me. Let's say you're a regular person who doesn't struggle with drug addiction, all right? Some things that you can do to protect yourself are making these rules, such as if you're going to be in my home, you cannot be under the influence. If you're going to be here, if you want to sleep here, if you want to eat here, if you want to take a shower here, you have to be sober. Okay? My parents set that boundary with me early on in my addiction, and so I had to leave their home. I couldn't stay there anymore because I couldn't stay sober. Okay? I couldn't stay sober. I would be totally high. One of the things that forced my parents to make that boundary with me, and I'm going to share this story with you guys. I'm super ashamed of this story. I feel so much guilt and shame and so much remorse, but I'm going to share it with you. I started shooting up around the time I was like 23 or 24, and I was really, really new at it. I taught myself how to shoot up in the bathroom one day at my friend Nate's house. My friend Tammy shot me up, and then I locked myself in the bathroom that evening, and I sat there and I shot up shots of water until I learned how to shoot up. Trigger warning, y'all. Okay? So when I came out of the bathroom that night, I could shoot with my eyes closed. I could hit a vein from a mile away, baby. Okay? I'm just saying. So I didn't have a way to get syringes. Every time I would go to get syringes from Walmart or Kroger or Walgreens, anywhere, they would not allow me to purchase them. They would deny me. I was over the age of 18 and I had money. This is the stigma of addiction, okay? This is wrong. If you're a pharmacist and somebody comes in to purchase syringes, you need to sell those syringes to them. Because I caught hepatitis C because I couldn't get clean syringes. Pharmacy techs. Okay, it's not your job to be a motherfucking police officer or a damn doctor. It's your job to sell me the damn syringes. Okay? And because of because I couldn't get syringes, I used syringe after syringe after syringe over and over and over again. I would use other people's syringes over and over and over again. One time I had a syringe that was so dull that I was sharpening it on a knife, the knife sharpener I showed y'all the other day when I was sharpening those shears to cut my hair. I had a syringe and I was sharpening my needle on that knife sharpener because I couldn't even push the needle through my skin. That's how dull it was. So, I digress. I had snuck over to my parents' house while they were not home because my father had to take allergy injections, shots for his allergies. His allergies get really, really bad in the spring and summer. And so every spring and summer, my mom, would have to give my dad these allergy shots in his arms. Okay. So I had snuck over to my parents' house to steal some syringes out of their cabinet, their medicine cabinet. All right. And I just couldn't help and wait. I couldn't wait to shoot up. So I went into the bathroom at my mother and father's house and I shot up a shot of methamphetamine. Well, I got interrupted abruptly because I heard somebody pulling into the driveway and I ran to the window to see who it was, and it was my mom. So I quickly grabbed everything and cleaned up and ran out the door, didn't say anything to my mom, and drove off. Well, I left the syringe on the counter, uncapped. And my mother had just picked up my 4-year-old little boy nephew, Nicholas, from school that day. And thank God my mom went into the bathroom first, because my little nephew could have got a hold of that syringe. So my parents changed the locks, and that was the day that I was no longer allowed to come to their house unless I was there being supervised by somebody or they were there, with me, and I was only allowed to come there while I was sober. So that was a hard boundary that my parents had to set with me, because I was not only hurting myself, but now I was being very careless and could have hurt my small nephew or anybody else in my family for that matter. Okay, so a boundary that my parents set and followed was a boundary that I wasn't allowed to be at the home anymore, right? Which totally understand why they would set that, A lot of places or a lot of programs like AA and NA are going to tell you that you need to turn your back on your loved one and basically give them tough love. And this tough love approach is supposed to basically force them to their rock bottom. But I'm going to tell you that it doesn't usually force them to their rock bottom. They just get really, really sad, and they feel all alone, and they feel hopeless, and they go into a cocoon of nothingness and, continue to use more and more and more drugs. It doesn't force them to do anything. You can't force a person to change or want to get sober. They have to get to a point in their addiction where they're tired of using, and what's happening is we get tired of using because we're experiencing the negative consequences of our drug use. Okay. For me, I didn't get tired of using until the consequences were so dramatic and so serious, losing custody of my son, that it forced me to start looking at, hey, do I want to lose custody of my son so I can keep using drugs, or do I want to fight to get my son back? And even then, when I lost custody of my son, there was a short period, 2-week period, where I was using benzodiazepines and sneaking around doing it because of how miserable and hopeless I felt. Thank God I got caught and almost got kicked out of the treatment center, because if I hadn't gotten caught, I would have never gotten better. That getting caught woke me up and made me realize, oh my gosh, like I'm over here basically throwing custody of my son to the state of Arkansas. Am I fucking nuts? Have I lost my damn mind? You know, it's a wake-up call. And so what sparked me to talk about this was a video I saw on TikTok from a girl named Abby Fickley, or I don't know. Abby has a YouTube channel, a pretty big YouTube channel now. It's almost got 300,000 subscribers, and she's a wonderful, wonderful girl. But in her video, she stated that if you have people in your life who are in active addiction, you're enabling them. And I thought, ooh, that was not a good video. And I wanted to talk about it more because that gives people the impression that, oh, if you help people or love somebody that has active addiction and you are letting them be in a part of your life, then you're you're enabling them. Then that's unhealthy. And that's not true. That's just because you love them, you know? And there's got to be like a happy medium that we all find that works for us and our family members, so that way we can still help people instead of just tossing them to the wolves and expecting them to get better on their own, you know, without any kind of love or support or family support, you know. And I feel like for so many years we have all been indoctrinated to believe that the 12-step program is the only way to get sober. And you guys, I'm unprogramming myself or deprogramming myself from the 12-step program. And it's the hardest thing that I've ever done in my whole entire life, because I have been taught to believe all these things that AA and NA taught me, and they're not true. They're not true. They're not true. Loving an addict is not enabling them. Wanting to help somebody that you love dearly, like your son or fucking daughter, doesn't mean that you're codependent. Okay? It means you fucking love your son or daughter and you don't want them to fucking die. That's what it means. Okay? There are some unhealthy things that we do, right, when we love somebody that struggles with addiction, like buying their drugs for them, taking them to the dope man's house, right? These are things that we need to not do, okay? Steer away from doing those things. My husband's father, okay? I love him so much. I wish he was still alive. His name was Crazy Al Pludre. And they called him Crazy Al in the Vietnam. He was in Vietnam. And he was just loved his son so much. He loved us so much. He did not want to see us in pain. So he would give us money, but we would lie and manipulate and say that this money was for, you know, a flat tire or gas or whatever. And that was the only way we could get money from his dad, was if we manipulated him. Okay. And so I think in his heart, he knew what the money was for. But he loved us so much that he didn't want to see us in withdrawal. He didn't want to see free the government. Oh yeah, Moontan. Back, especially back whenever I was in active addiction. So this is back in 99, 2000, not from 99 to 2014. No, 2015. Okay, so I could still go. Like today, I have to go to the pharmacy and I have to get a box of syringes because we're all out and we have to give Jetta insulin shots. Today, when I go to the pharmacy, watch, I'll take you guys with me. I bet you $500 that they give me a hard time and try not to give me the syringes. And that shit's fucking so annoying because they're literally for my dog. But I want to show you guys what I used on my face because some of y'all were asking yesterday. I'm almost out. This is the Studio Radiance Face and Body Radiance Sheer Foundation. Okay, this is sheer. It's MAC Face and Body. I love it. As you can see, you can still see my blemish, my little freckle thing I have there. And it's just really, really pretty. I'm all out of this too. And this is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I have to order a new thing of this. This is in the color Macadamia, I think 1.5 Macadamia. Yeah, and so when I was in active addiction, me and my husband both, and before I even met my husband, we would go to the pharmacy and I would go in there first and ask for syringes and get denied. My husband's little white boy ass go in there. He would get them. They would sell them to my husband, but not me. Can you believe that? I can believe it. you know. But even then, it was still hard. Like, there's many times where he's gotten denied and they wouldn't let him have the syringes either, which is not right. Like, that's why people get diseases, because they're not having access to clean utensils to use while doing what they need to do. Okay, and they're going to use no matter what. You can't stop it, so you might as well, help prevent diseases. Pharmacy people. It makes me so mad, you guys. It really, really does. And I hope people that like work in pharmacies watch my videos and learn like the stuff that they can do to help people that struggle with addiction. You know what I mean? Because denying somebody the right to have a clean utensil to inject whatever they need to inject with, whether it's diabetic medication or drugs, it's none of your business. You know? So I live in Arkansas, you guys. We have a harm reduction place here now, and it's down on Roosevelt Avenue. But for the longest time, there wasn't a harm reduction institution. Okay. And like, you have to understand, I live in a Bible Belt Republican state. And so weed is still illegal here. I'm not allowed to go to the dispensary and buy weed. Like, we have had it voted down like 2 or 3 times now. And I'm like, what the hell? But anyway, I digress. What I'm trying to share with you guys today is that I don't want you to feel shame because you love your drug addict, okay? Because you love your son or daughter who struggles with addiction. I don't want you to feel like because you let them have a meal at your home that you're enabling, and that's wrong, because it's not. That's love. That's caring about somebody. That's feeding your child, which is, a mom's, we do that. That's what we do for our kids. We make sure that they have food in their belly, putting a meal out on your front doorstep for them to pick up because they're using still is not enabling. Every human needs food. Every human needs food, And if you talk to some other people, they'll tell you, oh, that's enabling. That's terrible. You can't do that. That's wrong. That's wrong. Food, water, clothing, shelter, these are basic human needs. And making sure that your son or daughter, making sure that your son or daughter or your loved one has those basic needs met while they're struggling, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? And, but if you ask some hardcore diehards in AA and NA, they'll tell you that's a horrible thing for you to do. Oh, you're just making it easier for them to continue using. It honestly makes me sad, because that's why so many people are dying from the disease of addiction. Okay? Because we have all been brainwashed to believe that the only way we can help somebody is by not helping them, by turning our backs on them, which is not true. And I hope by watching my channel and hanging out with me that a lot of you guys learn that it's okay to love somebody that struggles with addiction. It's okay to support them. It's okay to give them food and water and a place to shower every now and then. Like I said, no, we don't need to be buying their drugs for them. They can find that. They're hustlers, okay? When I was in active addiction, man, I'm telling you guys, I could turn $1 into $50 in no time, okay? We are very resourceful, very resourceful. So don't worry about us in that. And I struggled with my mom and my brother being at our house alone or living with us, not because of use, but his symptoms from addiction. Oh, yeah, really? Yeah. So for instance, if he's stealing and being verbally or mentally abusive to you, then yeah, standing your ground and setting a boundary and saying you can't stay here anymore, that's a healthy boundary. And you have every right to set that boundary. Set that boundary and protect you and your mom from, the symptoms of his drug use. Because your house should be somewhere where you can come and feel safe. And if that's not how you feel, then it's absolutely okay to set a boundary. I think most people, get to a point with their loved ones where they're, using so much, and their loved ones understand, like, I can't stay with my mom if I'm getting high, you know? And so they go and they get sobered up. But the only thing I stole from my parents, like I said, was syringes. I did steal my dad's credit card one time, you guys. But you know what I did? I paid it back. I went to his house, gave him the $200 and paid it to him. Told him tell him to pay off that credit card bill because I spent $200 on it. And he did. He paid it off or whatever. Okay, I also want to talk about, like, I've seen people say things about me, especially when I brought up, like, Jessica Kent and her situation with having the prostitutes around her and Mindy and that kind of thing. I heard somebody, or I think it was JD, who had made a video, and in the video he said that he was referring to me, forgot where I came from and how could I turn my back on no, baby. We're not going to manipulate the situation. There is a way to help people who are struggling in active addiction, and there is a way to not help people that are struggling in active addiction. One way to help people that struggle with active addiction is to take you and another sober person to where they're at and, offer resources, offer help, give them your phone number, connect them with harm reduction resources, that kind of thing. Okay, maybe bring them some food, some water, their favorite candy, whatever, some clothes, some socks, that kind of thing. And then there's a wrong way to help them, having them in your home where your minor children live. Okay, that is not forgetting where I came from, and that is not me thinking I'm better than anybody. That is me remembering that I have minor children in my home and that I need to protect my children above anything else. I have nothing in common with people who are in active addiction to be having them over my house kicking it, okay? And hanging out. What are we going to talk about? The last time they got high? You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to have that around me. That could be detrimental to my sobriety. Okay? And even me having as much time as I have sober knows that. And I protect myself. But my main goal is protecting my child, you guys, at all costs. And I don't want my son to see people who are in active addiction. I don't want him to be subjected to that in his safe space, which is his home. My son and I, we go out and we help people. I don't like to talk about this because I'm not trying to brag, but I want to share something with you guys. Okay? Me and my son, have made it a habit for when we go out and we see someone flying a sign. I love stopping and talking to those people. They're usually over by the water in Little Rock, so I can pull over and I can go talk to them, right? So usually I'll go over there and me and Nate will go there and we'll ask them, like, how they got to where they're at, like what is their story? How did they become in the situation? And give them some money. And we don't care what they use it for because it's their prerogative. They want to go buy drugs with it. That's their prerogative. But I always like to hear their stories, right? So me and my little boy have kind of made a habit of doing that. Well, one day we were on our way home and there was a guy sitting on the bench for the bus, And so I said to my son said to me, "Hey, Mom, are we going to stop and help that guy?" And I said, "Sure." So I pulled over. I went and made sure that the guy was okay before I brought Nate over. And then I called Nate over and we got to talking to the guy. And then the guy had actually been somebody from my school back in Hot Springs. I live like 45 minutes to an hour away from where I grew up. And so this guy was a guy I graduated high school with. And long story short, he wanted to get sober. He wanted to change his life. So I came home. We raised up $350 for him, and we paid for his first month's rent in sober living and got him into the methadone clinic. Isn't that fucking cool? I thought that was the coolest shit ever. What are the chances? You know, what are the chances of me running into somebody from my high school? Okay. So anyway, I thought that was so cool. I didn't say, oh, here, jump in my car since I know you from high school and come to my home. No, I gave him my phone number. I told him I would be in touch with him. I asked him if he wanted to change his life. He agreed that he wanted to change. And so I set out on a mission to find him some fucking help. Okay, and so that's what I did. I helped him get into sober living and I got him on MAT. All right, like that's how you can help somebody, you know, that's struggling, that they really want to get help. And he did, you know. I even put a good word for him at Kroger, my old job, so he could get a job at fucking Kroger, you know. And this happened when I had my old YouTube channel, and I'm so mad because that YouTube channel is gotten deleted. And that fucking video, I had made a video because when we were raising the money, it came from all my people on my YouTube channel. So his name was Ian. Ian wanted to come and thank everybody. So what I did was I just called him on the phone after we went and paid his first month's rent. I came home, I called him on the phone, and he got on the speakerphone, and he thanked everybody who donated to get him the first month's rent. He was so grateful. He was bawling his eyes out. And it was so emotional. I was emotional. He was emotional. We were both just so emotional, right? But I just didn't feel comfortable like putting him on camera, but he really wanted to tell everybody thank you. So I was like, okay. That video is gone. That video was on my old YouTube channel that got deleted, you know, and that's another thing that really makes me upset is that people expect for me to just move on and not be upset that my YouTube channel was deleted because of dumbass motherfuckers on the internet, you know, and they expect me to just not talk about it or not be upset or not, you know, that was my hard work. Years and years and years worth of hard work, 5 years exactly. And so if I talk about things on my channel, it's because everybody deals with their trauma differently. Everybody processes things differently. And the way I process things is by talking about them. Okay? And so if it bothers you because I talk about it, I'm sorry. But it pisses me off still. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to fucking heal from that shit because it made me so mad. Because I worked so hard on that channel and my community. And I put so many hours of blood, sweat, and tears into that channel. You know, so just be mindful of that, you guys. Like, I'm really, I'm very honest. I'm accountable. I'm truthful. I tell all my life stories. I'm too honest, okay? And so remember that, you know, I put in a lot of work on my old channel. And it meant a lot to me. And having it taken away from me for no reason, it's wrong. What makes me so sad about it also is that people try to say things like I was bullying somebody on that channel. No, y'all. I had 3,000 videos on that channel. Okay? 4 or 5 of them were about the JK situation, and that's it. That's it. The rest of them were all recovery from addiction, okay, related content. In fact, I've made more videos about that situation on this new channel than I ever made on my old channel. So I just wanted to say that because I think it's important for people to understand that, you know, I'm allowed to talk about stuff that bothers me. And if I want to talk about that, I can, you know. Okay, so you know, me and my son will go out, like I said, and we will try to help people the best way we can, you know, and hear their stories and give them an ear, somebody that will listen, but it's a safe way. You know, I don't come and bring those people in my home, into my child's space where me and my husband's sober space is. This is our sober space. You know, this is a place where we come and we can relax and we can feel, safe. And I think it's just really important to remember that you have to have that, especially as a person in recovery. You know, they say, there's a saying that they say that, our addiction is doing sit-ups or whatever, right? I don't know if it's doing sit-ups, but I do know that when we're not working on ourselves and we're not trying to be better people, we can fall back into old behaviors and old ways, right? Which makes it easy for something like relapse or something to happen, right? And so, I think that protecting ourselves is important, especially if you're trying to obtain long-term sobriety. If you don't want to, I know how easy it is to relapse. Okay, it's easy to relapse, y'all. And people act like, we're just going to be immune when we get sober. That's not how it works. Okay, all it takes is like one bad situation at the wrong time, and you're back on meth. You're back on opiates. I've just now gotten to a place in my life. I love this color. If y'all like this color that I just put on my lips, let me get the, I need a lip liner. This color is gorgeous. Gorgeous. It is by L'Oreal, 113, Nude Admirable. It's like pinkish nude, just like my lips, but better. We don't like testing our gangster, right? I don't go out going around people that are getting high and shooting up and smoking meth, shooting meth, snorting meth, drinking alcohol, eating opioids, shooting opioids, smoking crack-a-lacka. Like, I don't go down to the crack house to test my gangster every week. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, fuck that. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? That is asking for that's asking for something bad to happen. That's like setting yourself up for failure. No. Okay, I'm going to share something with you guys that I used to do before I got sober this last time. Before I got sober this last time, I could not stay away from my people, places, and things, okay? I had tried to get sober many times, and I'm going to give y'all a great example of one of the times I tried to get sober. So when I got out of prison, I was like, I'm going to stay sober, so I'm going to parole out to a sober living house, okay? So I called my probation officer because I was trying to parole out to a sober living house in Hot Springs, where I was from, which was Garland County, okay? So I called my probation officer, and I'm like, yo, I want to parole out to Garland County, a sober living. And that's when my parole officer told me that I was banned from the county. She said, no, you can't come back to Garland County. You're banned. You can't come back here. You have to parole out to somewhere else. And yes, it needs to be a sober living place. And I was like, but my whole family is in Garland County. What do you mean I can't come there? She's like, you can't come back here. Point blank, period. Okay? And I'm like, oh, well, fucking shit. Little Rock, which is a bigger city, and I had never lived in a big city, okay? Start calling around Little Rock, and I found a place that would take me, let me move in, right? So I set the time and date that I would be getting out. My parents agreed to pick me up, okay? To pick me up and to take me to the sober living place, and they did. They came and picked me up. We went and got Mexican food, and then they took me to check in, okay, to the sober living place. So I get there. It's nice. Whatever. If y'all know who that is, it's nice. It was nice. Whatever. Trick Tales. Anyway, I was setting myself up for success, okay, by moving into the sober living. Well, when I got there, I made a bunch of friends because I'm a fucking social butterfly, right? I made a bunch of friends, and so I made my friend who I told you guys about yesterday, Ashley. Me and Ashley became really good friends, and She was living in the sober living. I was living in the sober living. And then we stayed sober for 6 months. Both of us did. And then we moved into the sober living apartment. So we had a little bit more freedom, right? Ashley relapsed like really quickly when we got over to the sober living apartments. And my dumbass, for some reason, could not stay away from my friend, even though she was using, and I knew that this was dangerous for me, and I ended up relapsing actually when we lived in the sober living apartments at the sober living house, and that was one thing that I struggled with many other times before that time. Every time I would try to get sober in the past, I would end up hanging out with my old using friends and relapsing because I could not separate myself from them. And that's what I needed to do, especially in early recovery. Okay? Like hanging out with people who are getting high and you're trying to stay sober. It's like the old saying that they say about going to the damn barbershop. Okay? If you're not trying to get a haircut, you don't need to be hanging out at the barbershop, right? Okay? It's like, okay, here's another great example. Are you trying to lose weight? If you are, you don't need to be hanging out at mukbangers' houses where they're mukbanging food all day long. Okay, it's like you're gonna get yourself into a situation, and that's what happened. I was hanging out with people that were using substances, and I got myself in the damn situation. I started using substances with them, and I try to share that with people, and that's not me being better than anybody. That's not me like forgetting where I came from. That's me protecting my sobriety. Like, that's just like, I feel like that's just sobriety 101. And so it cracks me up when people try to use these like excuses and say stuff like, oh, you forgot where you came from. No, I remember exactly where I came from. That's why I'm not trying to go back there, honey. Okay, because I know where I came from. I know exactly how bad it was, and I don't want to go back. I don't want to make the same mistakes I made before. What's so hard to understand about that? What's so hard to understand about that? That's what I don't understand. And I know that we like build friendships with people in active addiction, and we care about those people, but we have to protect ourselves. At some point, you have to start being selfish in your sobriety, because a lot of the times they don't mean to. Okay, our friends that are still using, you guys, it's not like their goal is for us to relapse. It's not like they're like, yeah, I'm going to get Nicole to relapse today. Like, I really don't think that a lot of people that's their goal. I think that, they're just still using, so they're still thinking really selfishly, right? Because part of being in active addiction is being selfish and self-seeking. Okay? Selfish as in we want to get what we want when we want it to make ourselves feel good. And so we're not thinking about how that can affect our loved one or our friend who is trying to stay sober. Okay? Because we have tunnel vision. Okay? When we're in active addiction, we have tunnel vision. And that is get to the drugs to feel good and forget the way we feel. That's our goal. And so it's not because we're just like horrible people and we want to ruin everybody's lives around us. It's because we have tunnel vision. Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah, Alex, that's how it happens for a lot of us, is that, I was straight edge too. I had never done drugs before. If y'all watched my video yesterday, you'll know my live from yesterday. I hadn't used drugs and I struggled with an eating disorder, okay? And I struggled with starving myself because I was so ashamed of my weight, right? And then later on in life, my starvation turned into binge eating disorder. But that led me down the road of seeking stimulants, and getting addicted to high-powered stimulants. That's why now, even though I'm overweight, you guys, like I tell myself every day, every morning I wake up and I tell myself how beautiful I am. Nicole, you're beautiful. Nicole, you're smart. Nicole, you're loving. Nicole, you're tolerant. You're kind. You have a heart of giving and gold and helping, and try to remind myself that like my worth doesn't it's not my worth isn't calculated by the number on the scale. And for a long time, you guys, I felt like it did. Like my self-worth was measured by my scale number, you know? But not anymore. Not anymore. And people still make fun of me about my weight to this day, especially on social media, but I don't let it affect me because I know the person I am on the inside, and I know my intentions are good. And that's really, really helped me a lot in my healing process from, starving myself and everything, because I just remind myself, Nicole, like, the person you are is not decided by the weight that you weigh. It's on what you do and how you treat others and how you treat yourself at the end of the day. Bada bing, bada boom, baby. So, yes, I did. So, I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this little chit chat about boundaries, and I hope you enjoyed doing makeup with me. This is my finished makeup look. It's just a matte eye today, just kind of chill. And I love you guys, and I hope you guys have a great day. I did upload a video about the Colleen Ballinger situation. That fucking song was ridiculous, and this is what I'm talking about with these influencers online. Somebody's got to hold people accountable, okay? Or these people have these God complexes. They think they're untouchable. They think that they can do whatever they want because they have millions of subscribers. I love you guys too. I love y'all. And they can't, okay? And so you can't do wrong things and expect people to turn the other cheek. You can't message underage kids and expect people to just forget about it, okay? You can't do that. You can't have people's YouTube channels deleted because you don't like what they're saying and expect people to forget about it, okay? You cannot sit there and charge people money for a Patreon that you're not producing content on and expect people to say nothing about it. Like, yesterday, I want to say this in closing. Yesterday, I was so angry because one thing about me is I am so proud of what I have built online, okay? I want to have exactly what I have right now because that's what God is meant for me to have. I don't envy anyone with a larger following than me. That's not what it's about for me. I'm on here creating long-lasting friendships and relationships and helping people change their lives for the better, for their health, for their well-being, to heal from their disease of addiction, to help their loved ones who are dying from the disease of addiction. It's not about followers to me. It's not about clout to me. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I used to be a shitty person. I used to use drugs and not think about anyone but myself. And now I have changed those behaviors and I think about other people before I even think about me. Okay? And so when I see a large creator causing harm to a whole community and being dishonest, damn straight I'm going to speak on it. Damn fucking straight. Okay? And so I always say this. I would hope if I was doing the same thing that people would say something to me about it, because if nobody says anything and people just ignore it and allow it to keep happening, right, then that person who's doing that negative behavior will never learn. Okay, they will never learn because they'll never be held accountable. All right, so that's why there's laws in place in the world. That's why, like, there's places like Reddit, right, where people can point out and voice things about people that they think that are not right, because if there wasn't people holding people accountable in the world, then everybody would just be doing what they wanted to do. There would be murderers running loose, popping caps in people's asses every day. There would people be walking into stores and robbing the stores blind every single day. There would be murderers and rapists and pedophiles everywhere doing what they wanted to be doing, and they could get away with it because there would be nobody holding them accountable, no law of the land. Okay? And so having an opinion and speaking out against people who are taking advantage of vulnerable communities, that's the right thing to do. It's the right fucking thing to do. And I don't care if people like me or not. Okay? I'm not here to make best friends with every fucking buddy on the motherfucking internet. Okay? I'm here to share the truth. Okay? Okay. So, I love you guys. I hope y'all have a good day. And this like I said, this lipstick is from L'Oreal. It's the skinny tube, the new ones that just come out with. It's called Nude Admirable. It's like a pinky nude. So, okay? All right. Love you guys. I'll see y'all later. I hope you have a great Thursday. We're almost to Friday, baby.